Hi guys, good afternoon for all of you guys who haven't met me yet. My name is Fred Christian. I'm a disabled community activist out of Miami Gardens with a social media page and organization called #Impact. I live in Florida and a lot of crazy stuff goes on in our state. It's happened since 2001 with Bush v. Gore, where we were called Floriduh, spelled Floriduh instead of Florida, which is the correct spelling. Florida for a reason, because we don't get it. Duh, why don't you get it? So our topic today is Florida and why it's becoming literally Florida instead of Florida. So where do we begin? Okay, we had the election like we talked about with Bush v. Gore. And we're over that. But we have other fun things to talk about. Since Bush v. Gore, we've had some terrible governors in this state. One being Rick Scott, who's now our U.S. Senator, who, of course, when he was in office as governor, refused to expand Medicaid for our state, dooming 1 million people to not having health care. I was one of them for a long time, and several friends of mine were in the gap. Several people still are, 500,000 people. And here we go again with Florida. Because the pandemic ended and all the emergency protections from the federal government ended, Medicaid was expanded for certain people to qualify for it. Now those exemptions are gone, and those people will have no health care pretty soon if they haven't had it already. So we have a health care crisis in this state, number one, because people don't have health care. Some people don't have health care still, and the legislature and the state and our governor are refusing to solve this problem. Meantime, we have another wonderful gem in this state, and that is called permitless concealed carry. Yes, permitless concealed carry, which is the offshoot of open carry, which basically says that you can carry a gun anywhere without any questions. No anything. You do have to take a background check, so I want to say this in there before they say I didn't know what I'm talking about. Yes, you do have to get a background check. However, you can carry a gun openly, pretty much openly in your pocket, as long as you don't point it at anyone at any time. This is not a good idea. 60 to 70% of Floridians did not want this at all. I did not want this. A lot of people I know did not want this. I went to a Crime Watch meeting with my neighbors that are senior citizens, and they're scared to death because of this. Because any person that flies off the handle and has a gun, you're going to probably be dead, shot and injured, or shot and killed now. Because of this reckless, foolish folly by our state legislature and our governor, who thinks he's going to be a dictator or a king, which he's not. Wake up, people, and see what Florida's doing. Between the banning of the books, the banning of Amanda Gorman's poem, and also the basic intolerance towards anyone who's different than anyone, Hispanic, gay, straight, LGBTQ, whatever it is, the intolerance in the state and the foolish stupidity of wanting to pass a gun law just because Texas did it of all states. Really. Now, Texas, I don't have anything against you, but I do not like your governor and your legislature because you're putting your citizens at risk, and it's ridiculous. Okay? This is 2023. We're supposed to be a civilized, reasonable nation, or so I thought. Why do you need to have a gun in your pocket at all times? Please answer me that question. Why do you need to have a gun in your pocket? Answer me. Why? What is it about that gun that's going to make you feel so much better going into a supermarket, a Walmart, a Publix, a Winn-Dixie, I'm going to name them, I don't care, a mall, a store in a mall, a theater, a park? What's going to make you feel so much better having that gun? What? If you get in an argument, you're going to be bigger and bad and pull it out? I mean, we haven't had enough shootings and killings in this state over the past 15 to 20 years. We had Parkland. We had several of the smaller school shootings. We had Pulse. I mean, isn't it enough to stop the gun violence and this obsession with guns that we have? Why do we have to do this? Why do we have to escalate it? And it's a foolish law, because I'll give you a scenario, and I've done this before in videos. Okay. Person A and Person B are carrying guns in said grocery store. Not naming a chain. Now, what happens if they get into an argument with each other? Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? Now, do you understand that there are people in marked carts that are elderly, disabled, and handicapped that could be riding on a scooter that if they don't get out of the way, or a person like me that doesn't react well, we could be dead ducks? Little children in carts and strollers could be dead ducks because of this law. And it doesn't have to be a store. It could be a park. It could be a playground. It could be anywhere. I said this before. Bullets do not discriminate. They don't. They don't discriminate. They absolutely do not discriminate. They don't discriminate. They don't discriminate. They don't discriminate at all. Bullets do not discriminate. They never will. And I'll say this not for my friend. Bullets belong on bracelets, not in us. So donate a bullet, save a life for my friend Susan today. To be blunt, too many children have died in this state that people really don't realize. Little girls that are under the age of 8 years old. Jada Page, King Carter, Elijah LaFrance, to name a few. And of course, Chastity Saunders too. 4 little children in Alana, Washington. 4 little children under the age of 8 died. Yes. 4 of them. You've got 14 children in Parkland that died, plus 3 adults. Plus, you have several people in mass shootings daily throughout this country. And they want to have more guns. They want to have more people potentially get hurt and more people potentially get killed. Please tell me why, and please tell me where this mythical good guy with a gun is going to appear magically to save the day. Please tell me this. Somebody, please tell me where this person is. And please tell me how it's going to help the grieving family members, like my friend Letha Cheryl Bush, of survivors affected by violence, who lost her son Jack Brown in an argument. Actually, Jack was shot 5 times in the back about 10 years ago. After he got in an argument, he walked in a store, came out, the person was waiting for him, and cowardly shot him 5 times in the back. He lived for about 8 more months, but then he died. Tell me, how's that going to help Letha? How's that going to help my friend Tracy Brown, who lost her son Louis Leon Jr. to gun violence? Or Tracy Lyons, who her son was coming from football practice and was gunned down, leaving football practice as a teenager from gun violence. How's that going to help my dear friend Tangela Sears, who lost a brother and her own son to gun violence? How's it going to help them? Please, answer me that question. How's it going to help a few other people like Letha, who not only lost Jack, but she lost 5 other relatives? My friend Tawana Akins, who lost 5 relatives to gun violence. Please tell me how it's going to help these families and where this mythological good guy with a gun is going to magically appear out of nowhere and save the day and save our children and save our disabled and save everyone from the bad guy with a gun. Tell me something, great mythological people that came up with this formula. Can you get in people's heads? Can you decide and discern who the good guy is and who the bad guy is? This is not a movie, a John Wayne movie, like you guys love to make him the great icon of something that he's not. Okay? Not like some guy comes riding in on a horse with a white hat, and some guy's got a black hat. They get off their horses, and they walk in the middle of the dusty street, and they shoot each other. This is not that. That's a movie. That's a myth. There is no good guy with a gun. The closest thing to a good guy you can have with a gun is a policeman. That's it. Or law enforcement. That's the closest thing. Or our soldiers. That's the closest thing you can get to a good guy with a gun, and they are the only good guys with a gun. Anybody else? No. It's vigilantism at best. It's anger. That's what it is. And it's not just the guns. Our rents are ridiculous in this state. And our rents will go up because, effective July 1st, the governor signed a bill where tenants have no rights. In other words, we can get no rent control. We have no right to get anything if we need things fixed. If anything happens, and plus, they don't even charge us a security deposit now. They're going to charge you a fee when you move into an apartment every month instead of security. Yes. The state of Florida has given corporate landlords, corporate America, except for Disney, carte blanche. They've given the NRA and corporate landlords carte blanche in this state. They let them do whatever they want to. Our wages are low. Families are working 2-3 jobs, struggling to afford rent and food. This is not paradise. Yeah, you may come to Disney, Universal, Busch Gardens, SeaWorld, the beaches of Miami Beach, and the clubs. But this is not paradise for us. It's not. A lot of us are hurting and struggling right now, and we need a break. But there is hope for the gun violence thing, which I've advocated for, and I'm going to talk about that for a minute. I found on Instagram a group called Pennsylvania Moms for Change, and they happen to have had a sit-in with my friend Celeste from Enough of Gun Violence. This weekend, 2 weeks ago, they did a sit-in in front of the Capitol. Good job to all who did it, and Brett Cross who lost a child in Uvalde. They got several legislators to come out and talk to them and speak to them. One of them was Lucy McBath, who was going to revive the gun violence bill that they passed last year in the House. They need a few votes on it, so please, if you are watching this nationally, call your representatives, tell them to vote yes on the discharge position in the U.S. Congress so it can go to the Senate for a vote and we can do things. And also, call your senators and tell them to vote yes on banning assault weapons too. We need both to happen because our children and our future, we should not have to worry about going to a supermarket, a church, a synagogue, a mosque, a park, any place at all without feeling safe. We need to be safe, and we must be safe. We have to have affordable homes and communities that are safe, clean, and well-maintained. That's my mission and my priority right now, in addition to getting people health care, because that's part of the equation too. Those three things are three of the biggest issues facing this country, facing our state, and facing a lot of people right now. Our safety, our health, and where we live. And we've got to be on the ball. We've got to be proactive on this. So I'm going to leave you with this one thing. I'd like you, if you do make some calls to representatives on this gun violence thing, too, and I will message this to anyone who wants to read it to them. I wrote this little poem after Parkland called How Many, dedicated to gun violence victims. First it was Parkland, now it's for all gun violence victims. So today, I'm going to read you how many. How many? How many tears must we cry? How many times must we say goodbye when someone we love dies? How many times must we sigh and want to cry? How many kids must die? How many moms and dads will cry? How many Americans will cry, why, when someone they love dies? Too many tears, too many fears, too few years. How many more will say enough? How many more will rise up and say enough before our future dies, before it begins? How many, I ask you, will cry? So I'm going to break it down real quick before I go. How many? How many of us are going to suffer from gun violence? How many tears do we have to cry? How many times are we going to say goodbye when someone we love dies? Ask them that, please. How many times must we sigh and want to cry? Ask yourselves that. How many kids must die? Ask them that. And how many moms and dads will cry? Ask them that too. And how many Americans will cry, why, when someone they love dies? Too many tears, too many fears, and too few years. Tell them that. And how many more will say enough? You've got to say enough in this problem, America, and in Florida. You've got to say enough. Our kids are dying, and saving our kids' lives and our safety is worth it. And before our future, which is our kids, dies, before it begins, how many are going to cry? I just want to ask you guys that. How many? How many of you guys want to do that? Can you do that for me when you see this video? Please. Can you? And I'm going to leave you with one thing. This is the bulletproof bracelet for my friend Susan Kennedy Nanton of Bullets for Life. I want to say this for her. Susan, this is for you. Donate a bullet, save a life for organizations like her. Take the bullet. Instead of using the bullet for bad and killing someone, donate that bullet so it doesn't go into someone. It goes on them in a bracelet. Donate a bullet, save a life. For our kids. For Alana. For Chas. For King. For Elijah. For Chastity. For Alana. For King. Say it again, forgive me. For Alana. For Chas. For King. For Jada. For Elijah. For Jack. For Lewis. For Marlon. For Tan's son. For Tracy Lyons. For give me a second. Oh, sorry about that. I had a block. I'm trying to remember the mom's name. Hang on a sec. For Tanya Young Fincher's son. For Darwan and Kim, who died in Lincoln Fields outside Liberty City, and their parents, Miss Satterley, for them. For my friend Tawana, who lost 5 people to this awful thing called gun violence. For Letha, who lost not just Jack, but 5 other relatives. I want to conclude this broadcast by saying thank you all and God bless. My name is Fred Christian. You can find me on Impact. Have a great day and God bless.